Hi, I'm Aita Rigodaro, and a hearty welcome to my channel.
I'm hugely excited about today's film because this is a question I really get asked a lot. How do I invest in my very first artwork? And my answers often surprise people. So before we get to the heart of the matter, let's just make a distinction between an investment grade artwork and an artwork you like. An artwork you like is simply any work of art that you're drawn to. And quite frankly, if you love it and you can afford it, and that's all you're interested in when buying art, then that's great. And that makes the decision-making process a lot easier for you. However, this particular video is designed for those of you looking at buying art, not just as a wonderful purchase to enjoy, but also as an investment, i.e. something that you hope will rise in value over time, even if you don't necessarily have any plans to sell it and just want that peace of mind. There are three overarching considerations that always guide my choice. These are where from, how much, and if you want to get a little bit sophisticated about things, what is the context of this purchase within your buying or collecting strategy? So let's look at these considerations in turn. Number one, where from? When thinking of where to buy art, many people think of galleries, and the right galleries, those showing artists whose work is not just decorative, but is also considered to be fine art, can be good choices. And I'll do another video just on how to identify serious galleries, as that can be a minefield in itself. However, for those looking for more peace of mind, that they're likely to be able to sell their artwork as well as just buy it, I definitely suggest considering auction houses. This is because if a reputable auction house has deemed a work worthy of selling at auction once, then there's a reasonable expectation that it would be accepted at auction again. Auction sales are regarded as part of the secondary art market, where works are not coming directly from the artist's studios via galleries or directly from artists themselves, but are being sold on, usually by buyers to other buyers. Whereas with galleries selling on the primary market directly from artists, there's no such circularity usually. This means you might end up buying a work from a gallery that you're unable to sell on later if the artist does not have an established secondary market. This is particularly true if you're a novice investor. When you've had more time to be exposed to and learn about the art market, then you'll be able to know the artists that you're interested in. And in this situation, having good relationships with galleries is fantastic. Now, I know that we all see the mind-boggling auction stories in the papers, certain Banksys and Rembrandts selling for multiple millions, and it can seem like a rarefied and out-of-reach world. Yet what is less publicised is that many auction sales, even in leading auction houses such as Christie's, Sotheby's, Phillips, Bonhams, they include works that sell in the very low thousands and even the hundreds of pounds. It's free to just walk in and look at their exhibitions, and there are ways to bid in person, on the telephone and online. Again, I'll do some more videos talking to different auction houses and let you know some more about this avenue. And another really helpful thing about auction houses is that they publish the results of all of their sales. So if you are interested in certain artists, you can also have a look and see if they have a secondary market and are on an upwards trajectory, which is great so long as they're still affordable for you. But of course, be sure to compare like for like. So compare similar sized works by the same artist using the same medium, canvases for example. Number two, so that's where from, but clearly we need to talk budget. Everyone's budget is different, and only you know how much money you actually have available to spend on your first art pieces. But how you allocate that budget is where it starts to get interesting. The first mistake I've seen people make is going as cheap as they can and trying to get multiple artworks for their money, rather than buying one really great quality work at a given time. People often think they can hedge their bets by buying lots of cheaper works, with the idea that if they have lots, at least a few of those artists might become the next superstar in the future. The reality is, however, when a work has already become somewhat expensive and has a secondary resale market, then there is an established marketplace for that artist's works, with collectors who support her or him, and usually a gallery behind the artist aggressively supporting their growth, perhaps showing their works at art fairs and so forth. What that means is that if you want to have the option of being able to sell your artwork down the line, perhaps to buy more artworks and support more artists, or to go towards a house deposit, or for whatever your reason, you are far more likely to be able to find a buyer when there's already an established market. So the work by the more established and therefore more expensive artist is often counterintuitively the safer investment. By all means, go ahead and spend next to nothing on that student you want to support, or the striking piece you found on Instagram by someone you've never heard of. But do that to support them and because you like the work. That's not your investment grade piece. A further point related to budget is the type of artwork. Unique works are the most expensive. However, if you would like a way to access the works of a megastar artist whose unique works are financially out of reach, you could look at certain prints if they're signed and limited edition. While I personally have some prints, I much prefer unique works. And I'd probably opt to save for a smaller work, i.e. a physically smaller work or a work on paper, which is typically less expensive than on canvas or sculpture, if I couldn't afford a larger work by the artist I wanted. But as a rule, buy the best quality you can afford. Number 3, let's look at your wider strategy. Yes, you are after your first investment grade work, but we're presuming that it won't be your last. If you start thinking in terms of a collection or multiple works that are connected thematically in some way, this can help focus your search and help you to become more knowledgeable more quickly and make better investment decisions as you go along. So it helps to do some research before you start spending any money at all, really. Go to museums, art fairs, read the culture pages of the papers, get a feel for what's exciting in the broader market, and then choose a particular area of the market that you want to take a closer look at. You might be interested in contemporary art, but that's pretty broad, and it will be hard to quickly develop a real expertise. Whereas if you look at, say, contemporary art by female artists working in ceramics, just off the top of my head, you can start to build a specialized collection, which may, as a collection, have even more value than the individual items, or at least generate more interest down the line should you decide to part with it. So there you have it, my top 3 considerations for buying your first investment grade artwork. Where from, how much, and what's the context within your strategy. I hope you found it useful, and do pop any questions in the comments below.